We've met the needs of the organizations through selecting our services, but now we're going to meet the needs of the interpreters. One of the things that I think is very important for interpreters is really understanding the healthcare environment and knowing what they're working in and the dangers that are involved, looking at the unpredictability of the healthcare setting, looking at all of the specialists and the specialties, and really being able to speak to those things and know that that's the environment that they're in. That, regardless of behavioral style, is high stress. And when you look at what the interpreter does, they have to work with the administrator or the registrar, they have to work with the nurse, they have to work with the LPN, they have to work with the radiologist, they have to work with the medical provider, they have to work with the, they have so many people that they have to work with, and they have to adjust for each and every one of those folks. But when you look at a provider, they walk into the room, they have their rhythm, they go through their process, they go out, they go back into a room, they have their rhythm, they go through their process. Well, interpreters don't have that ability. So everybody has stress, but there's not that rhythm. So those are some other things to consider. And then really as managers, you are their safety net. So when you're looking at how to keep them safe and how to keep them moving forward, as a manager, as a company, as an organization, you're the safety net. Some of the things that we do is we screen both for language and assignments. So we take in the information and we do find out what the assignment is going to be, because the heads up that they can get will help them prepare for what they're going to encounter. They may have never had that type of encounter before, so what resources can they look up? Can they talk to a colleague? What vocabulary will they need? What are some of the common procedures that happen, so that when they go in, they're safe, they're qualified, they're able to go. Another time that's really important is sometimes at an ER. If you can get any background prior to slipping them into an ER encounter, that can be very, very, very important. Giving them the training, we had talked earlier about the availability of training and not having things, but again, defining what your expectations are. You can create training opportunities, you can find training opportunities to make sure that they're adding the most value. Mentoring to me is critical. That's part of our training process, is that we have our interpreters go through a lot of theory, a lot of practicum, those types of things, but then they start shadowing our senior interpreters that are trained as trainers. And then once they've gone through that process, then the role is reversed and they're shadowed. And so there builds up, the mentoring relationship builds, and it really helps to foster positive growth in a very short period of time, because they're working and they're developing this 40 hours a week, week after week, and by the time they're finished, they're at a novice level. That's not to say that when they're done, they can go and do, say, behavioral health or something like that, but they can start handling those pediatric well child checks, and they can start handling rehab and that kind of thing. And then emotional support, to me, that's something that we've always valued. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and the cops are showing up and somebody was slashed and you're dealing with all of this. Well, who do you call? Well, call a supervisor, call somebody that can provide that. Create an environment where there's a debriefing opportunity. There's a lot of experiences that are there, but creating the right opportunity and the right environment, not to say, holy cow, I saw Jose Garcia and you should have seen what he did. Well, no, that's not really what we're talking about. But saying, gosh, I really had this difficult encounter and I was so frustrated because of this, this, and this, and here's how I handled it, and have you had this? And kind of creating a dialogue where people can talk to one another is really going to bring a lot of value. So again, going back to that tool belt that you can provide your interpreters, it's the code of ethics, it's the standards of practice, and it's defined process and procedure. Going through all of that, then when they make decisions, they're making an educated decision based on the training and the knowledge that you've provided them. The less knowledge they have, the less ability they have to make educated decisions, which doesn't allow them to follow through with what it is that you're looking for from them. And then from a managerial perspective, conflicts and all of that kind of stuff can arise. As a resource to interpreters, professional development, I talked a little bit earlier about how important I thought that was. Continuing education, it's so important, whether it be going to NAMI, what is National Association
National Alliance of Mental Illness.
National
Alliance of Mental Illness.
National Alliance of Mental Illness, for example. Erin's our trainer here. But going to something like that, going to a lot of hospitals and healthcare systems have courses that they give for free to their patients. having interpreters go to things like that. So just really giving them opportunities to develop and grow. Creating reference materials, medical encyclopedias, medical glossaries, websites, even compiling your own, but giving them materials so that they can look something up and develop their vocabulary and their knowledge that way. And then just having exposure to healthcare and really giving them the opportunities to see different things. If you have an interpreter that starts out and they're in the pediatrics department, give them the opportunity to grow constructively so that they can branch out and do other things and come here and go there. So that exposure gives them development opportunities. And finally, you're in control of this process. So whether you're a manager, whether you're an organization, whatever it is, you're in control of